everybody. Welcome back to our special series with Grace Marin at Client Side Chats. Hi, Grace. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing, James?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. So this series is going to be a different one than the previous one we presented with Grace. We're going to be actually talking about what if you could read people's minds. And I find that really fascinating. There might be some things that you might not want to read, but I'm sure that would be really something. So I really look forward to this. In this first example that we're going to do now, we're really going to talk about the four different types of people, correct, Grace?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
and for our audience out there, just so you know, and a reminder to you, Grace Marin is the founder and president of PX Coaching,
Mhm.
and she does a lot of good work in the area of leadership, using a number of different techniques, and that's what this series is continuing on with. I really like the title. What if you could read people's minds? So, Grace, tell everybody a little bit about what you do, and then let's get into talking about today's subject.
Sounds great. Thank you, James. My background, I've been a nurse for over 30 years, and my clinical background is the neonatal ICU. But about 2+ years ago, I went out on my own to do some coaching and consulting, mostly geared towards healthcare. But my real passion is about supporting people with good communication techniques, ways to improve relationships. Because let's face it, whether it's in the workplace or at home, relationships can be really tough. And I like to create a soft place for people to land.
Yeah. And I know that's how you and I met was you being on the road when we could do those
Yeah.
things before the pandemic, of course.
Yeah.
Even when we do come back from the pandemic, I've been enjoying these conversations and look forward to even more as we move forward. But today's topic, I know you're going to talk about four different types of people. So I find this fascinating. I know we could talk for hours about this,
Yeah.
but go ahead, Grace, give us kind of an idea of what you're talking about here, and we'll move forward.
Sounds great. So we're going to keep this one a little short. I'm going to give you a big overview, and then the next couple of videos dig deep. So what I'm about to share with you, I'm not a psychic. It's not that I can only do this. I'm going to teach you how you can do this as well. And so this is based on what's called the DISC model, DISC. And it is research that's been ongoing for 90 years. So this is not something that's just come and gone in the past couple of years. And so the premise is basically the entire population of the world, believe it or not, can be divided in quarters. So one quarter is the D style or the dominant style. The second quarter is the I style or influence style. The S is steadiness and C is conscientiousness. So those are the four main categories. And I'm going to share with you the nuances of each style. And so basically, if we were to take the entire population of the world, and you could even think about this on an organizational level, I've done training on this for an organization. And of course, more people in a course gives you a better sampling of each style.
Uh,
But basically, I divide the course. I ask people, do you see yourself as a fast-paced, kind of dynamic and bold personality? Or do you see yourself as sort of moderate paced, a little bit more methodical, quiet? So then the room divides in half. And of the two, then
uh,
you have to choose, because you have to choose, would you consider yourself a questioning, skeptical kind of person or an accepting and agreeable kind of person?
ah,
That's how the population is divided. So as you can imagine, the D style is the more fast-paced, the dominant person who is really all about the bottom line. And the I style is also fast-paced, but really more focused on enthusiasm and getting the team going. So think of a cheerleader. The
right.
steadiness person is a person who literally you can set the clock to their mood because they're always kind of similar and very much even keeled. And then the C style are the folks who are fairly quiet. Think of like a researcher, someone who loves to just, you could leave them in their office all day and they'll be happy because they get to dig in on the things that they love to do and
Uh-huh.
hyper focus to the point where they feel like they can really make sure that their research or their thoughts are well supported,
Hmm.
that they don't want to put anything out that's shabby. So those are the four basic styles.
That's great. And I know, no one style is better than the other, correct?
Exactly, exactly. And by the way,
Uh-huh.
we are actually a combination of all four.
Hmm.
But when you take a disc assessment, it gives you an idea. Are you pretty much more one style? You can be a blend of two, but
Mhm.
no more than two. And it gives you an idea of what motivates you, what might be your fears, things that you'll notice when you first meet that person, and
Right.
some of the limitations of each of the styles. So, in an ideal team, you would want to have all four styles represented because it would be not to the benefit of the company or your team if it's predominantly one or two styles. It's kind of like trying to drive a car down the road with two wheels or one
Ah.
wheel for that matter. So you'll see certain careers attract certain styles. Yet,
Ah.
when you're working on a team, working on a project, it is vitally important that you have a sprinkling of all four styles. And as the team leader, to identify what style you think they are. So
Uh-huh.
then you can play to their strengths and not get sort of upset or frustrated if they aren't what you think they should be because they're
Gotcha.
a different style than you. They don't see the world the same way you do.
Yeah, agreed. I know that's definitely for a healthy team. And those of us who have worked in teams know and understand that
Yeah.
some people with certain types of styles that might kind of, and I'll just say it and put it out there, drive us crazy, are
Yes.
actually very valuable from that standpoint because of the input that they have. You have to have that open mind in order to make that happen. So as a leader, you
Yeah.
have to take on that definitely, component of facilitating that, but
Yes.
also being open about what you might hear may not be what you want to hear.
Hmm.
But it's very vitally important to, as the team, to move forward. Really, what you're doing is kind of setting the bounds, correct? That you have to make sure that everybody understands what the direction is. That's why a leader has to have a vision and a methodology for getting to that vision from these kinds of things. Would you agree?
Exactly.
Yeah.
100,000%. And it's the smart leader who doesn't compete with their staff,
Ah,
but actually leverages the strengths of each of the people on the team. And the smart leader is the one who's going to surround themselves with different styles because we all have blind spots. And so
yes.
you might see it certain things a particular way, but the other people on your team, if you don't actually ask for feedback, it's
Mhm.
kind of like you're flying blind without GPS. Okay. So, as a leader, and depending on what organization you work for, there's a lot at risk when we go in flying blind. You want
Yeah.
to go in prepared and also making sure that your team feels appreciated. So that then when you do work on really complex projects, that you don't lose steam. Some projects can be years long,
Uh-huh.
and that leader who knows how to engage all the different styles and play to each person's strengths, as well as taking the opportunity to grow their teammates who may be unaware that they have blind spots as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I do know one thing, good, healthy team, one that has good leadership with it, definitely outperforms teams that are not organized well or anything like that.
Mhm.
Statistics I know show that businesses that have good, healthy teams like this, that have good leadership with it, definitely are about 3 times better and more efficient, more profitable than those that are not.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of research that hits that. And I really appreciated the fact that you pointed out at the beginning here that there's over 90 years of research here. It's not,
yeah,
something that's brand new or the latest fad. These kinds of things really do make a difference.
yeah,
So that's great. So, hey, I know you're going to have a document that our listeners can certainly download. It does talk a bit more about the disc. And I know this is something you do as well, that you really dive into this. You do have an online course coming up that for which there will be some webinars for. So
yeah.
we'll be on the lookout for that. I really look forward to these things.
100%. Thank you so much, James.
Hey, thank you too, Grace. Good to see you and look forward to the next session.